What's one comeback you've used in life that was so smooth you still grin when you think back on it? I'm usually a SAP, but I was sitting in a coffee shop with some friends, plus a few people I didn't know. The girls in the group started talking about the types of guys they are into. This girl I just met said, "I don't know what it is, but I really love when guys are dicks to me." And before she could finish her next sentence, I say, "Holy shit, are you still talking?" Everyone looked at me like in complete shock, but the girl gave me a grin of approval. Throwaway. Arguing with my ex's sister, she asked, "Where do you get off?" I said, "All over your sister." I was conversing with a friend about video games in the school cafeteria when a loud, overweight girl starts, loudly, talking about how all guys who play video games are nerds. I shoot her a look and say, "I guess I'm a nerd, then." She rolls her eyes and says, "Tell me something I don't know, freak." Off the top of my head I reply, "Salad tastes good." I was at a bar, at a table, with some friends. A group of women, looked to be in their early 50s, sitting at a nearby table, completely hammered, which normally wouldn't be an issue. Only these ladies were literally gutting younger women with insults as they'd pass by, trying to see how many they could make cry. After about an hour or so of this happening, these women start looking for men to take home. I know this because they were nice enough to announce it out loud to the entire bar, every few minutes. One of the women, a blonde that happened to be the ringleader of this group, kept looking over at me, trying to capture my attention. Not being overly attracted to obnoxious, I ignore this woman, which only makes it worse, and only makes her more angry. So she gets up and walks over to our table, tells me that she's going to the bathroom and that I better be there when she returns, because I'm going home with her. To which I say, "It's not happening." But she ignores me and makes her way to the bathroom. On her way back, she walks past me and loudly exclaims, "Dick." So everyone at her table and my table can hear. To which I respond, "Oh mom, you know how you get after 2 drinks." She turned around, and I've rarely seen a woman so pissed off. She started screaming something I couldn't make out, which attracted the bouncer, who promptly kicked her out. Everyone clapped, and I drank the rest of the night, for free. TL. Doctor. Called a cougar mother, she got bounced. I was a witness to a murder in which I was one of the people that they tried to kill. Years later after it happened, I get a call I needed to testify as they had caught the assholes. After several minutes of questioning, the DA asked me what I was thinking after they shot at me. Thinking to myself, how you answer a blatantly obvious and ridiculous question, the only response I could come up with was, "Shit." The entire court started laughing, including not only every juror, but the DA, the defense attorney, and the judge. Even the stenographer was laughing so hard she stopped typing. I'm fairly certain I'll never get another zinger like that again. A female friend of mine and I got subs at Subway one afternoon. She went with one of the expensive dealies. She says, "For $9, this better be an orgasm in my mouth." To which I replied, "I could have done that for $8. My friend broke up with his girlfriend. Drunk at a party, she yelled at him for having a small dick. His counter? "It would have been bigger if you ever got me hard." Instant classic. I used to work at this pizza joint that would stay open late on the weekends to hit the bar crowd. The pizza was New York style, so 18 pie was standard and slices were as big as your face. A pair of guys came in and ordered a slice each of the meat lovers pizza, which came out to like $4.75 a slice. Now, I get it that one might find this pizza to be pricey, but the amount of toppings we put on it made up for that, so I thought. These guys began throwing a fit about it and we defended ourselves, saying that we didn't set the prices, and we're sorry, but that's how it is, we have to eat too. One of the guys looks at my coworker, who is a big overweight, and goes, "Well, you look like you're eating well." Pays for the slice and sits down to eat it. 5 minutes later, I walk out with a slice for a different customer who asked to have his slice warmed in the oven, and as I turn around to go back behind the counter, those 2 guys are standing right in front of me and get all up in my face. The one guy from before goes, "We gonna leave our garbage on the table for yo ass to clean up, cuz yo pizza is too expensive." I looked him right in the eyes and said, "You come rollin' in here wearing your Dolce & Gabbana bullshit sunglasses, ready to pay $8 for a shot of pucker, and you're going to complain about $5 pizza? Get the fuck out of my restaurant." As I said that, the guy looks around the whole restaurant that is now staring at us, and starts doing the whole PSSSSHHHHHHHPFFFFTTTPSSSHHHHHHHHH bullshit, and I go, "What the fuck is your problem? You got a fucking leak, asshole? Get the fuck out." And all of a sudden the whole restaurant erupted into a bunch of and people were clapping. It was amazing. The owner always told the guys running the bar shift that they could say and do whatever they needed to in order to get someone to leave that was being rude or disorderly. I took that privilege very seriously. My mom called me a son of a bitch and I responded with, I know I am. Someone said, I got a $2 handjob from your sister. I said, she's charging $1 an inch now, huh? My friend was singing a Christmas carol in school once and this girl yelled, Christmas is over. To which he immediately replied, so's Halloween. Had about 13 shots of tequila at my mother's birthday party. A man that was interested in her showed up. He was the stereotypical redneck. Very narrow-minded, conservative Republican, judgmental, stubbornly and willfully ignorant, falsely quoted the Bible, etc. Anyway, he made the mistake of talking to me. He kept boasting about how he's a proud redneck, but tried to tell me that there were classy rednecks and trashy breeds. My response was, oh, I wonder what's the difference between the two. Do the classy rednecks frame their Confederate flags instead of using them as curtains? It was a fantastic night. I'm normally a very polite girl. I was in middle school. This one guy, let's call him Ben, was bullying the fat kid in my grade in the locker room after our gym period, while everyone was changing. Let's call the chubby guy Chris. What was strange was this bully was smaller than Chris but still managed to push him around and make him feel like shit. At one point he cornered Chris and just kept acting like he was about to take a swing at him, just waiting for Chris to wince or flinch. I was really annoyed at how little of a fuck everyone was giving about this, so I went to the bully who was my size and just pushed him against the wall. He punched me on my arm and just said, fuck off Hindu guru, your mother is a cunt. Honestly, I don't know how I thought of this, but I almost immediately responded saying, tell your mom to stop changing her lipstick, my dick is turning rainbow. Cause we were in middle school everyone just went, oh. Ben just shut his ass up and went back to his locker. Haven't had a smooth comeback since. Oh yeah? Well the jerk store just called. They're all out of you. Not mine but my sister's. She was about 4 and wanting to play kitchen in her room. She grabbed some cereal boxes from the kitchen and put them in her room. My mother, in trying to explain why it wasn't acceptable, said, the cereal will bring ants. Do you want ants in your room? My sister, not missing a beat, replied, do you want ants in your kitchen? This story still gets brought up at family gatherings 20+ years later. I never think of a comeback in time, so this was incredibly unusual for me. I'm standing outside a restaurant, waiting for friends to arrive. A guy walks up to me and asks, are you the valet? Me, grinning, what kind of car do you have? He laughed too. Walking home from high school in the summer and some fat kid and his friends saw me from across the street. The fat kid yells, you have huge tits. To which I responded, not as big as yours. And gave him a nice little smile and walked away as his friends laughed at him. I work in a supplement store. One night, as I was nearing the end of my shift and getting tired of talking to people, a young guy and his buddy walk in and the guy decides he's going to be Mr. Funny Man and make jokes about all the products. I hate when people do this, because A, the jokes are never funny, and B, I've heard them all before. So after humoring a few somewhat obnoxious quips from him, the guy grabs a fat burner off the shelf and holds it up at me. Ooh, look at this one. Hey, miss, is this gonna make me look way better? To which I replied, without missing a beat, I really hope so. His buddy and the other guys in the store just started cracking up. I hadn't meant to sound so bitchy, it just sort of came out that way. I was at a comedy club and got up to use the bathroom, which was directly behind the stage. As I walked back to my table, the comedian on stage waved at the curtain behind him and said, you know, behind this curtain is a one-way mirror. We were all watching you in there. In an uncharacteristic moment of confidence and wit, I turned to him and said, yes. I heard the applause. Probably going to get buried, but I was at a New Year's party at my uncle's house. One of my uncle's friend was making fun of my dog, a dachshund, and said, you can tell a lot about a man by the size of his dog. I replied with, well, you have a cat. My stepdad was having a Christmas dinner party a few years back for the law firm at the house. One of my stepdad's friends had just been talking shit all night, little comments here and there about me, you could call it teasing. At first I brushed it off because he was drunk, but it got to me after a while. Anyway, we're all eating at the table and he's sitting across from me, his date is at the end of the table, to the right of me. Everyone was talking, and somehow the conversation steered towards me about to make it a long-distance thing with my girl, because I was moving for college. So the dude starts talking shit, saying something along the lines of, "You're so young to be pussy-whipped. When I was your age I had all sorts of fun, but now I'm old blah blah." It was almost awkward. Then the date gently grabs his bicep and says, "It's okay. I like my men how I like my wine," and me without skipping a beat, "Do you like them extra fruity?" The whole dinner table, like 15 of us, just started laughing hysterically. The guy got mad, he was like, "Why would you call me that?" And I sarcastically said, "I dunno, why would I call you that?" The dude was very eccentric and a bit flamboyant, so it just bothered him, I guess. So he demanded I answered him, and I was like, "Chill out man," so he got more upset and demanded I answer him or else. So I stood up and was like, "Or else what?" He stands up and I fake punch his ass. He totally flinched, so my stepdad starts laughing, tells him to calm down before he gets his panties all up in a bunch. Dude stormed off outside, he was totally embarrassed. They still make fun of him to this day how he got punked by a high school kid. The truth is I'm usually pretty quick on my feet, but I at least think what I'm going to say. This one just spat out my mouth. I didn't even realize I said it, it's like, that's what she said, I just say it after anything naturally. It just so happened that it was a perfect setup to what seems to be a sensitive subject for that dude. Every time I think about it, all I see is success baby in my head. I really liked anime, and so bullies in school often taunted me with bullshit about Pokemon. One day in math class, a guy turned around and said, "I've caught all the Pokemon, what about you?" Me, "Really? Have you caught chlamydia yet?" Him, "Of course I have." Best part was, a girl in front of him turned around and said, "Dude, that's a vaginal disease." He looked so ashamed. I was flirting with a girl that was quite a bit taller than me at a bar. The girl, dismissively said, "I've got at least 6 inches in you." Without missing a beat, I replied, "That's okay, I've got at least 7 inches in you." She laughed, bought me a drink. No, that's a common misconception. Actually, you were a misconception. 7th grade. This wasn't particularly brilliant, but it happened recently enough that I can still remember it as I sit here in my ratty futon on a Friday night, drinking and redditing. I was walking my dog in the middle of a really narrow, almost empty sidewalk. I saw an elderly lady approaching me, so I started to get off to the side to let her pass as we got closer to each other. She scowled at me and said, Excuse me, where are you going?" "Just to the park over there." "Why do you ask?" "Well, you need to stay the hell on the right when you're walking." It was a beautiful, perfect day, but all she could focus on was the fact that I was walking in a way that was not totally to her liking. I looked at her with the biggest shit-eating grin I could muster, and cooed, "Aw. You're so old and angry." And I walked off. A friend jokingly threatens me by saying, "Let me show you a trick I learned in the Nam." I respond, "2 problems with that. 1. I don't have any ping pong balls, and 2. No one wants to see your asshole." Once someone insulted me, and I couldn't think of anything quick. He said, "Nice comeback," and I replied with, "If you want my comeback you can wipe it off your mother's face." I'm getting ready to leave happy hour and see that my coat is still on the bar stool that I was at earlier, but now is being sat on by the CEO, and my bag was on the bar next to him. So I walk over and somewhat sheepishly, I was pretty low on the totem pole, say, "Excuse me," to get my coat, and when I go to grab my bag, he grabs it and says, winking at the CFO, "It's cool, we've already been through your bag, there's no money in there." Without even thinking I said, "Yeah, we're gonna have to have a talk about that." They burst out laughing, and after that, I was cool with the CEO. True story. Douchebag meeting me for the first time. Nice glasses. In a horrible kind of way. Me. Nice first impression. Followed by about a minute of silent, unblinking eye contact. Arguing with my GF, I would agree with you, but then we would both be wrong. Lots of fiction in this thread. I was joking around with a substitute in one of my classes. I knew him from outside of school. We were talking about girlfriends or something, and he had said something, so I yell out to him, "Your mother doesn't count." To which he replied, well, she's an accountant, so yeah, she does. I had to give him a brofist for it. Some religious zealot was preaching in the quad. A large crowd had gathered to watch. I was on the way back from class with my friends and we decided to stop and watch. Him. Jesus will come a second time and it will be glorious. Me. It's always glorious when you come a second time.